Hey guys, welcome back. This is Aiden's Minis. So this video is not going to be as good as I wanted it to be because unfortunately there was actually a mess up. Some data got corrupted, so I actually lost all my footage. So I have to kind of restart with some spare bits. And on top of that, I kind of have to show you what's already been started, like what I've already started painting. So, to create the Leman Russ, I actually posted a full hour-long video. You can check that out if you'd prefer. It's obviously very, very long, though. So, I've kind of cleared off the space here a bit. So, what I did was, to create spare Leman Russes, I end up actually tracing certain bits. Now, first I'll show you something that I started beforehand. Before I had any measurements, I kind of looked up the rough measurements and made this. Now, this was a long time ago, like a few months ago. This was before I even started the channel or had any plans for the channel. But I wanted to make a Leman Russ kind of thing. And the sizing is actually very wrong. But there is one bit of this that I'm going to show you in a bit. That's my main focus with it. But we're going to take out an actual tank, a Leman Russ, and one that I kit bashed. So, here is, actually, you know what? Here is the official Leman Russ as I'm painting it, okay? So you can see the cannons. By the way, if you get this kit yourself, I would recommend you leave the ability to turn. I glued all of them, but most of them I could snap back into movement. So like this can actually move back and forth now. This one I was not able to. And it actually doesn't really cause much of a problem. I just paint the inside black here. Right? And I also accidentally used the flamers, okay, instead of the meltas, which is fine. I do count size anyway. But important note, if you're going to use the flamers, remember the skull goes on the outside, not on the inside. I'm not really going to fix it because it really doesn't matter. It looks good anyway. But, you know, just if you ever do this. So, this is the actual Leman Russ, and I'm going to pull the camera away a little bit. Sorry about the messy desk. I built everything on here. So this is the sizing difference. Now, the wheels aren't crazy bad, but they are obviously. There is obviously a size difference there. And it's actually taller, but that's okay. The main issue here, the main thing is the sponson and the pintle guns, okay? So, obviously, with the kit, you get enough to make kind of a copy, but first I'll quickly show you this. I'm not going to build another one of these because I don't really have any interest in it right now. I've kind of put enough work in this project and I'm trying to get it done as it is. But if you look, what I did was I grabbed I'm not sure what it is called anymore. I got a bunch from work for free because we were going to throw them out anyway. But it's one of these chunks of metal. It's in an L shape, and it's got a hole here and a hole right there. Now I put something covering it and put in the 010 on it. But you can kind of see it underneath that there's, but it's a piece of metal. This is just a plastic straw from Kool-Aid. You can mix that in there, but yeah. And these are square bases that I cut in half. And what I did was I added in a little metal bead, or a little bead, not metal. Same thing over here, and I used that as bolts. So that's what you can do if you want to make a sponson. Now, on to the actual kit. What I went with was this. The sponsons, that. And I'm trying to do, this is a kind of, my faction is designed off of a parody of World War II's Italy. So this is actually a reference to the Mussolini facade. It's a giant, I believe it's I can't remember if it was a banner or a flag or something, but it was on top of the Mussolini's headquarters, the fascist headquarters. And it had a statue kind of face on it that was supposed to represent Mussolini. It was covered in the word C on it. So that's what I'm kind of doing here. I'm actually probably going to clean this off and just print something to put on the back. I'm not sure, because I'm not great at doing letters. But yeah, this is kind of what I did. I'm going with the Vanquisher cannon myself. But that's the normal tank size. Now, to make the copy, I have this. Now, this is the easiest one because I actually have a spare piece right here. So you can see how it kind of works. Just a piece of cardboard, bends right here, goes down to here. Now, an important note, all of the kit bashed ones I tried to make from the box that you actually get with the Leman Russ, so it's kind of like, you know, you get the Leman Russ and you get enough to make 2 Leman Russes alongside it out of cardboard with the spare top here. But what I did was I just traced this bottom piece on the ground roughly. So I also didn't like this like tiny little bend and then going straight, so I went with just one diagonal bend. But what I did was put it onto the cardboard, kind of made it in a way that it would bend on top of it there, yeah? Right, so that's what I did. Now, for the wheels, very simple. The sponson does not come attached, so what I just did was I put that on the cardboard and carved it off, and you can see here. Now this actually had a small issue. I accidentally ripped the spare sponson off. It's funny, this is actually my second tank, but it actually has the Maltas that I was supposed to use, which is fine, doesn't really matter again. All my guns are going to be using Maltas. But yeah, important point is sponson on the side, the rest of this is cardboard. You see that actually texture there? Now this one I used a layer of hot glue. It's a lot more rough. I'm not really sure yet on the best way to kind of get a semi-flat texture, but what I did with these was I put a layer of super glue across it and let it soak in. Now obviously that still left us with a bit of a texture, but it's not crazy bad, and honestly it doesn't really matter. You can cover it in fake mud or something like that. For the tires, I went with 2 options. This one specifically has, I use this cardboard piece to kind of cover most of it. But I also have these toothpicks that I put on there and clip them off. Another thing, I haven't done it yet, but you get a belt for here. And what I did was I actually was going to plan to kind of break it in pieces and fill it in on something like right here. I didn't get around to it. I might with this last kit bashed Leman Russ that I've barely touched, but we'll get into that later. The important point is the second Leman Russ, all you need to do is the first Leman Russ, all official parts. Second Leman Russ with the kit, you make fake wheels, fake bottom, and that's all you need because you get a spare head. Here, I'll show you. I used the las cannon for this one, just because that's kind of the only one you can really make after using the bits for the other one, as far as I could tell. But this is going to just be an actual Leman Russ battle cannon or a Vanquisher cannon or something. It's good because it's the tank commander. You can see I added him in there. You'll actually notice, too, I replaced his head with one of the Italian Alpini, I believe it is, from the kits I've been using for my Imperial Guard. I also have a little antenna here to represent the Vox caster. Now what I did was I drilled a hole in there with a Dremel, and I stuck in a bit of a a paper clip, and I clipped it, and then I dipped that end in super glue and dipped it into baking soda, and then did that like once or twice more to give it a bigger rounded edge. There's a hair on that, but there we go. So back to the actual kit bash. Again, you have to make wheels. So if you can roughly you can look in there now, and you can see 2 sprues side to side, and they're hot glued in place. That roughly, just barely, is about the size of the treads. Now, going out as far as it needs to doesn't really matter for my games, because I'm just playing with friends. If you really want, you could add another, half an inch, whatever that kind of length is. But roughly 2 sprues side to side will cover you for distance for the tires. Let's see. Now, here actually is another bit of kit bashing. You see this? This is a little plate of armor for the front pintle gun. And obviously Games Workshop doesn't want you to be able to essentially do what I did, where I made 2 tanks or more out of 1 kit. It doesn't really matter to me. What I did is they give you this spare body too. And I trimmed off the little bits that stick out for the plate, because I can't show you, unfortunately. You might see it actually in the video if you watch the hour one. Again, don't need to, just mentioning it as an option. But yeah, there's little bits of plastic in there for it to glue to. I trimmed those off, and I took the metal box which actually, let me find it. This is normally what the lid looks like. I carved that skull off, so that's, you can kind of see an indent there. But this is just kind of a thing I put on the front, and I cut a heavy bolter diagonally, so it's now counts as the pintle gun. And this is like just, you know, a thing or something, and that's the driver's slot. And I used the leftover spare bits for a sponson, because you actually get 4 sponson options, you get 7 cannon options. If I remember right, you get a ton of spare guns for the pintle and the sponsons. You get 2 tank heads, you get 2 upper parts of the chassis, and you get 2 officers, which is obviously why this looks so good, because that's actually official bits. The rest of these are bits of sprue. And again, just hot glue, toothpicks, a bit of cardboard down here. Now, moving on to the most kit-bashed one. This is pretty much from scratch. What I did was, as I told you, traced the bottom, which is fine. I showed you the bit. Now, I traced this. I specifically traced this bit as best I could. It largely works. It kind of doesn't, but again, this is a very kit-bashed one. And this isn't even the original one I actually used. You can kind of see. You can kind of see the cuts different. Oh, whatever. I used the plasma cannon just because it looks good. I don't really know if I'm gonna bring this project any farther. If I do, though, I'm gonna work on doing some more sponsons like this on the side. Going to put something here, because here's the problem with kit bashing like this is you're gonna have a lot of this spot that doesn't really have any detail, and it's gonna look not the best right beside your official model. But we'll see if I do. I might do another video later on this, but essentially I also traced this bit onto a bit of cardboard. And I can't really show you because I lost my spare, but you can see it starts here, and I bent it off, right? And what I actually noticed is if you use a ruler and you put your, let me see if I have something. Oh, there's a pencil. Perfect. So what I did was just get a bit of cardboard, right? And you're kind of doing what I was doing, and you trace something. I'm just going to use this knife. Do not do this, but just to show you an example. I'm going to just trace this knife, right? That's a straight line, isn't it? But here's the best part. Because you put that force in drawing the line, it actually bends really easy. So what you do is you simply trace it and draw where you want the bends across. You can actually see pretty straight. So I did one going up, bend, one across, bend, one down, bend, and then the last little bit. And I haven't actually cleaned this up that much, but I'm going to put a bunch of hot glue there to hold it together. And it's surprisingly tough. Actually, note on this. I mentioned 2 sprues to fill this in. Put something right in the middle here, or it's going to fold in. Let's see if you can kind of see how it indents. It's because there's nothing there. All right. But you know what? Let's grab my other kit bashed one. This one does not move in nearly as much because right about here is a bit of plastic that I hot glued in place. So you want to make sure it's as strong as possible. Technically, if I really started pushing on it, this is completely hollow. I could probably just crush this. I believe in there's a bit of sprue or something in 1 or 2 of these. That one doesn't have one. You can see it bends. But yeah, essentially use a lot of sprue for stability. Sprue in here, 2 sprue thick for the wheels. Then you get the cannon, and just use 1 square base per sponson gun. And then the inside you can kind of do whatever you want. I use these metal, but actually you do get a lot of spare guns. Actually, looking at my table now, just out of your view, here's one of those mentioned spare tires. So you can break that down, you know, kind of bend it, something like that, put it in there. You probably have to cut these bits of plastic off the edges, though. But yeah, you get plenty of spare sponsons, so you could do, you know, get maybe one of these get essentially a piece of plastic back here between the two square bases, and you just slap one of these inside there. It'll work. I may return to this later, make another video kind of explaining sponsons in more detail. But for now, that kind of covers everything. It's roughly 15 minutes, 5 minutes longer than I wanted it to be, but that's okay. A bit of extra help's always good. But yeah, I'm going to be trying to also do a video on painting a... Actually, I'll pull him out now. I'm going to try and do a full video painting this guy beyond what he's already painted, because I did some base coats that are a bit tougher. I'll explain those in the video. But I'm going to actually be running this guy as my... what's his name? Lord Solar Leontis for my Imperial Guard. He's specifically going to be my Mongol faction, as mentioned. But I need a man on a horse that's, looks good. So he's going to be also counting as my Leontis when I play with my friends. But I'll do that in another video. I'll also try and show off my painted horsemen. Hope you'll enjoy that. But hope you enjoyed this video. Hope to see you again. Thank you very much. Like and subscribe if you can. I appreciate it.